Hey peeps, we are back. We are talking The Bachelor, season 25, episode 8. So before we get into the show, has anybody noticed online all the photos of Claire and Dale? It seems that Claire and Dale may be trying to make a go of it again. They've been seen out on the beach having a beautiful vacation. I don't know, but I'm wishing the best of luck. I know that Claire has really had her heart set on being with Dale, so we'll see. This week is hometowns, but not really, because nobody can go to their hometown, so everyone's family is coming to Nemacolin. Chris stops by to see the ladies and he lets them know that this is a very personal week. This is all about family, all about love. This is hometowns. Chris let them all know that their family members are already there. They are ready to meet Matt, and everyone is super excited, super emotional. Bree gets extremely emotional when she finds out that her mother is there along with her new baby sister. So she is extremely excited. And before Chris leaves, he lets Michelle know that she's up first. When Michelle meets up with Matt, it is quite funny because they almost seem to be wearing the same outfit, the same color pants, the same color shirts. It was quite comical. They end up taking a nice bike ride, and then they get to this building where they go inside, and on the door it says Miss Young's class. And when they walk in, it's Michelle's class on Zoom. That was so cute, and the kids were absolutely adorable, and they got down to it and asked the real serious questions. I said, these are some good questions for kids. I wonder if somebody helped them out with those questions. So the kids wanted to know, do they kiss? Is she his girlfriend? Are they going to get married? Do they want children? Matt answered every question, and he did a very good job. He was very creative about how to answer the questions. Since they were small children, he didn't want to lie, but he didn't want to, give them any of that adult talk. We're not going to talk about all this kissing and everything. He says that they were at the hand-holding stage. One of the kids said, are you going to give her a rose? He says, well, we're thinking about it. We don't know for sure. At the end, Michelle says, you guys let me know how you rate Matt. 1 thumbs up or 2 thumbs up? All the kids gave him 2 thumbs up. So he was a definite go for the kids. Michelle is my #1 choice. I think that she would absolutely be the best match for him. If he can't be with Michelle, I would say Bree. I do like Rachel, what I've seen of her on the show. But as far as compatibility, I really think Michelle is the right girl for Matt. Matt absolutely loved his day with her, talking to her and the kids. They had a little picnic. It was really just a perfect date. She says that she's absolutely falling in love with him, and it would not be hard for her to move forward in a relationship with him. Watching Michelle with her family, I found myself smiling a lot. You could really just tell that her family really, really loves her, and they're very supportive, that they trust her opinion. Her father, as soon as he's seen her, he said it's so great to see her smiling like that. He says that that was a genuine smile that he hadn't seen on his daughter's face in quite some time. He mentioned that her last relationship ended terribly and that it was a struggle for her to get through that and get past the pain. So he is extremely happy to see her happy. He asked her, he said, if Matt proposed to you today, what would you say? And she said she would say yes. Absolutely, she would say yes. Her dad did say that he was absolutely surprised to hear that she would say yes. So he was definitely going to talk to Matt and find out what stage of their relationship was Matt in. Would Matt really ask her to marry him? How does he feel about his daughter? He really needs to know. Her father did ask, does he love his daughter? And he says that he hasn't told her yet, but he's absolutely falling in love with her, and he would absolutely love to be with his daughter. Michelle's father tells Matt that he absolutely respects his daughter. He believes in her, and whatever decision she makes going forward, he will absolutely support her. And if her and Matt are together, he will support them both in any way that he can. Matt tells him that He would do anything for her, anyone that he loves, he would do anything for them. Even if that means moving to Minnesota, he would absolutely have that conversation with her and move there if that's what she needed. When Michelle talks to her mom, she lets her mom know that she really truly believes that Matt is the one, that he is the one for her, so much so that she starts crying. Her mom says, "Do you see any of Daddy in him?" She said, "You know how your father treats me, the way he always puts me first no matter what. Do you think that Matt would do the same? Is Matt that same type of person?" And she said, "Absolutely, yes. Matt is that same type of person." And from what I've seen on the show, I believe he is that type of person. So I think she was right. Her mom says, "Well, if you love him, I will love him too." Her parents were really supportive. And afterwards, they played a little basketball. It was really kind of cute. It was so cute. She says she really could see her and Matt living this life with their families connected.
Say that I am falling in love with you, Matt.
I think that that was really cute, really sweet that she let him know that she was falling in love with him. But I think what would have been better is if he would have mentioned that he was falling in love with her as well. He told her father. I think that he should tell her. And he's already told Rachel that. It's missing that he hasn't told Michelle that. Then we move on to Rachel's hometown date, and she picks Matt up in a fancy sports car, and she lets him know that she has planned a total secret date for them, and she blindfolds him. Turns out they are going skydiving. Honey, the man said they were going to be 12,000 feet when they jump out of the plane, and at 5,000 feet they would let loose of the parachute. I said, that is not my kind of date. My dates are on the ground. Matt was excited. Matt said this is the perfect date for him. He was absolutely excited. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No way in the entire world that I am jumping out of a plane. No, thank you. See here? See that there? That is exactly one of the reasons why. Me, the way my body is set up, I would be laid out there to this day. Don't move me. Don't move me. No, I'm sorry. That was terrible. That looked bad, and I'm sure that felt bad. And then on top of that, she had that man's weight on top of her too. Like, somebody get out here with one of them boards and take me to the hospital, honey. Listen, Matt was so overwhelmed with her being hurt and laying on that ground that he just knew that his feelings of love was just growing deeper. He says, "You know how that is when you love somebody and they're hurt, you get nervous, you get scared. What if I lost you?" I mean, he was really taking this serious. He was extremely emotional over this. Rachel was also emotional and in pain. Honey, listen, I would not have been able to have a conversation with Matt until somebody slid me some Advil. Okay? Hold that thought for a minute, Matt. Where is my Advil? Okay? Anyway, Rachel says that she can't even think about going through life without him now. When they moved on to the night portion of their date, Rachel tells her mom that she is sincerely, definitely in love with Matt, and that what's happening between them is extremely serious, and that she could see herself spending the rest of her life with him. Her mom says, "Have you seen any bad signs of him? Have you seen any red flags?" And she tells her mom that she has absolutely not seen any red flags at all, and that if he popped the question to her tomorrow, she is definitely going to say yes. Rachel's dad was a little more skeptic. He says that he doesn't understand how you could decide to get engaged to somebody after such a short period of time. He has no idea what the rush is. Slow down. Her dad sits down with Matt and he says, "This would be extremely difficult for me to decide to see someone for such a short period of time and then propose to them." He says, "I really don't understand how this works." He says, "This is really just unrealistic for me. And the fact that there are other women here also doesn't help." He tells Matt, "How do I know that you're not telling these girls the exact same thing that you're telling Rachel?" When Rachel sits down with her dad, she tells her dad that she thinks Matt is the one, and her dad says, "Yeah, but there's 3 other ladies here besides you." And they're not just here for no reason. I'm pretty sure he's telling you the exact same thing that he's telling them. And Rachel says, no, that's not true. I don't believe that he's telling them the same thing he's telling me at all. I believe that I'm different. She says, I know you think that I'm naive, but I don't think so. Well, you know, her dad tells her no matter what, he supports her and he loves her and he will be there for her. But he got his point across, I'm sure. Between him, her mother, and his conversation with Matt, I think it's very clear how he feels. Rachel was hoping when they went into this date that Matt would ask her dad for her hand in marriage. Well, after the date was over, Matt let her know that he did not ask her dad for her hand in marriage. He said he didn't think that it was good to ask all 4 men for their daughter's hand in marriage. He will wait until he gets to that point. And when he gets to that point and he has selected the woman that he's going to marry, at that point he will reach out to that woman's father and ask. Rachel was not happy about that, but she was excited about spending time with Matt and the prospects of maybe she may be his wife. Then it was time for Bree's hometown. Bree picks up Matt in a Jeep and she lets him know that it is payback from when he took her ATV riding and almost killed her when he flipped the ATV. So they go for off-roading in the woods, in the mud. It seemed like it was really fun. And then they ended up in this big, beautiful open field with a lot of horses, and they decided to have a picnic. She let him know that her mom was there and that her mom was going to be a little tough on him because she was raised by her mom. She says, my mom has to be my mom and my dad, and so she's going to ask you a ton of questions. She also apologizes to Matt for not giving him a conventional family. She says that she's really sorry that if he ends up with her, it'll just be her, her little baby sister, her mom, and her mom's new husband. She doesn't have the normal 2-parent family and all this stuff. And Matt tells her it's fine because his family is not conventional either, but his family is everything that he needs. He says his mom has loved him, has given him everything that she's got, and his brother would give him anything. He loves his mom and his brother more than anything in the world, and that is a perfect family. When Bree meets her family, she is brought to tears when she sees her little baby sister. She's a tiny baby. And when she sees her mom and her best friend, Bree. When Bree said that her mother was not going to take it easy on Matt, she wasn't joking. Her mom was almost exactly like Rachel's dad, very skeptical, and she had questions. She wants to protect her daughter. She starts right off and she asks Matt, are you in love with my daughter? And he tells her that he's absolutely falling in love with her. And this is another thing. He's never told Bree that he was falling in love with her, but you just told her mother. She asked him, did he see himself in her life? And he said, absolutely. She says with it being such a short period of time, she's not sure if it's true love, fantasy love, or just lust. The only thing she knows is that she doesn't want her daughter hurt. Bree tells her mom that she's absolutely falling in love with Matt, but she's extremely scared. And she's really scared to tell him that she's falling in love with him. And her mom says, I know you want to protect yourself. I want to protect you too. But you have to make a commitment to yourself, to be honest to yourself, and to be vulnerable. And she tells her, you know, she knows that it's really hard for her to do that, and it's really scary. She also tells her that she knows that she doesn't want to get hurt. And she says, worst case scenario, if you do get hurt in the end and he doesn't pick you, she said, we will mend your broken heart together. I will be there for you every step of the way, and we will survive this. I love that pretty much her mom said, listen, it's 4 of you and 1 of him. Somebody is going to get hurt, and in the worst case scenario, it's you. And if you do get hurt, I will be there every step of the way.
I'm falling in love with you.
Thank you for sharing that with me tonight.
I am really worried that he didn't say it back to her. He didn't say it back to her. He didn't say it back to Michelle, but he did say it to Rachel. That would be concerning to me. If I'm telling you that I'm falling in love with you, I really do need some more reassurance besides thank you. Then he heads off for his date with Serena P. Serena P takes him on a date that is all about Canada. Canada is her home country, and she wants him to know all the things that she loves about her home, and she's going to show him her Canadian pride. She gives him a few little quizzes, then they taste all kinds of little treats, little appetizers, you know, Canadian delicacies. After that, they play a little hockey where she wins, and she definitely wins a whole lot of kissing. Then they go on to meet her family, and her family, they were all in tears. They were so excited to see her, and her little sister looks a lot like her. Serena's mom asked Matt for a talk right away. She wanted to know what he likes about her daughter, and he says pretty much the same thing about Serena that he said about everybody else's daughter. How kind she is, how no nonsense she is, how smart, how beautiful she is. I said, you said the same thing about the rest of the ladies, but okay. You know, she lets him know she has no idea how he's gonna narrow it down and pick who he wants to be with. But at the same time, she wanted him to know that, you know, nobody wants their daughter to be hurt. They're all concerned, and I would be too. She also asked him, do you know if my daughter feels the same about you? And he says she hasn't really said yet, but I have a feeling that she does. So Matt isn't going into this date really hopeful, really into Serena. Serena's mom says that she doesn't know if Serena will be ready to get engaged so soon. You know, this is a lot, and she thinks that Serena will be on the fence about this. But when she sits down and have a conversation with her sister says, Matt seems like a really nice guy, but you don't seem that smitten about him at all. She says, I think that you're in your head about this. You're not really acting as if you're really into him. And she says, I don't want you to get down to the very end and get engaged to him and find out that you've made a huge mistake. So after talking to her sister, all of this doubt just seeps in. And then when she talks to her dad tells her, he says, you're not over your last relationship. Your last relationship went horribly. And I think that's why you're in your head and why you have these doubts about Matt. So then when she talks to her mom pretty much says the same thing. She said that last relationship messed your head up. And that's what's causing you to doubt Matt. And I thought, why are you on here? Why did you come to The Bachelor? You know that you hadn't healed from your past relationship. In the end, her family absolutely liked Matt. They thought that he was a wonderful person. They just knew that their daughter is not ready. She's not ready to be in a relationship, and she's definitely not ready to be engaged or married. When their date ended, you could tell that she was just not there. Her mind and heart was definitely somewhere else. Matt was waiting to find out how she felt about him, and she just wasn't giving him anything. So she lets him know that she's all in her head. She's not sure what she's gonna do. She doesn't really know how she feels, and sends Matt off with a kiss. Matt has this conversation with Chris, and Chris says, well, she's been on your list since day one. Like, she's been at the very top. And he says, yeah, I really had high hopes for her. And I said, well, daggone it. I knew that he liked her, but I didn't know that Matt was that serious about Serena P. I saw how serious he was about Rachel and Michelle, and I even seen it with Bree, but I didn't see that serious. Serena, especially after that last date. Chris tells him, listen, you need to get on top of this to find out how she really feels and what's going on, and you have to do it now because it's, you know, we're going into the very end of this soon. So Matt goes over to the house to see Serena, and he says he knows that this is a process. He knows that this is a lot, but he's been having feelings for her for quite some time, and he feels that he's been giving her time to process, and he's been doing everything he can to validate her feelings, and he lets her know that he spent more time with her than any other woman in the house. And that he really would like to know, you know, how does she feel about him? She goes on to tell him how perfect he is and how he would be a wonderful husband.
It just comes down to the fact that I don't think that you're my person.
Honey, listen, she gave him the whole, it's not you, it's me. Girl, you should have done that a while back. I really think that someone else could have been there. Maybe Piper. I'm just saying, you know, the way he reacted, I mean, he had tears. The way he reacted, I had no clue that he was really, truly considering proposing to her. And he really had some feelings for this girl. Then it was time for the rose ceremony, and all three ladies show up, and they're wondering, where is Serena? Have you seen her? Did you talk to her? Is she coming? I don't know. Is she coming? I don't know. You know, looking back and forth, looking at the door. They want to know what's going on. But when the rose ceremony finally starts, Matt says, listen, Serena is gone. It turns out that she didn't think that she could be engaged at the end of this. And I'm paraphrasing, but he says, listen, when I'm handing out these roses, you need to understand that this is possible engagement. If you can't see yourself being engaged to me or married to me, just tell me. Don't accept the rose. So he let him know. He threw down the gauntlet. Listen, do you want to be with me or not? Because if you don't accept the rose. I'll hug you and walk you out to the car. Anyway, they all get the roses. There's 3 girls, 3 roses. Telling you right now, as I said before, my first choice, Michelle. Second choice, Bree. Last choice, Rachel. I don't know, but they did show the previews for next week. Next week is Women Tell All, and it looked like the way the previews went that Serena P might be just a little sad that she left. I think she may have jumped the gun. She may have let her family get all in her head. I have no idea, but I cannot wait to find out, and I hope you'll be there with me. And until next time, bye.